music for the entire family.
Silent, silent, silent night, holy night.
Your number one family station. Music and ministry for the entire family.
Of Christmas, the home of a true tranny gospel Christmas.
Practical, spiritual, edifying, and honest. You can find these and more on a dynamic program geared toward promoting the kingdom of God. This is Brother Devon inviting you to check out Kingdom Principles on Fridays from 7 to 8 p.m. on Isaac 98.1 FM. We invite you to listen and join the conversation as we discuss various topics in light of Kingdom Principles.
Shaka bro one time. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that I'd come this far. It took me this long to know who you are. My life was a mess, but you cleaned my heart. It was painful enough just to leave a scar. This isn't normal, it's really bizarre. In my dark cloud, you came as my shining star. You keep reminding me who you are. You keep reminding me who you are. Victory in me nature. Take over my life like invader. When me don't deserve it, me get favor. You give me the chance to make my life greater. You're there in the times of emergency. When things get tough, Lord, you're there for me. The things that you do for me. Oh yeah, yeah. God, you do the impossible. Anything for you, Lord, is possible. Anything I ask, Lord, you're capable. Hey, Jesus, you're undeniable. God, you do the impossible. Anything for you, Lord, is possible. Anything I ask, Lord, you're capable. Capable. Jesus, you're undeniable. God, me a rate you. When me a feel like they keep me close to you. The road is tough, but I know you want me to. Stick on the straight, narrow path like crazy glow. Me know you love me like a panda love bamboo. The things you do, Lord, it make me believe you. Jesus, me love you. The sickness, you cure that. The blood of the lamb, you want more that. Give you the praises because you deserve that. Died on the cross for me since me, I'm sure of that. 'Cause Father, you care for me, and you love me jealously, You deal with me carefully, God, you do the impossible.
6 minutes after the hour 7, gonna welcome you guys inside Kingdom Principles. How you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I'm great. How you doing, Jay?
I'm good.
All right. Let's see everyone looking fresh and nice.
Yeah.
I hear you talk about the green team.
Of course, you know you gotta talk about the green team each
The
and
best-
every time.
the best
man.
team, eh?
The best team.
Yeah.
The best. That's the best.
Sometimes you just have to remind them.
Yeah, because sometimes they just forget
Yes.
who are the best team. All right, let's see.
And we have to give much love to Brendan, right?
Yeah.
Much love.
Yeah. Blessings going out to the other side.
Love to everyone, guys. We are in Kingdom Principles, so tune in. Check out Facebook, check out YouTube, and you'll see Isaac streaming on this beautiful Friday night. Jay, you know we had to bring the one and only Mr. Mervyn Baptiste, but he said we could call him Mervyn, right? So we call him Mervyn, right?
Mr. Mervyn Baptiste.
Welcome to the studios again of Isaac 98.1.
How you doing, Mervyn?
Good evening and thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here for a second time. Thank you.
Okay, you ready for this evening?
I am ready and eager and willing.
Okay, excellent. Guys, for those who are listening, we have to give our ground rules as usual and an order of today's conversation. Make sure for those who would be calling, giving your contributions via the phones, via the WhatsApp message, text message, audio recordings, maintain respect at all times. We will be having our conversation at the beginning, and then we'll open up the phone lines to get your contributions on this topic. The phone lines will be closed off at 7:45 p.m. I think it's a great conversation and one that can be incredibly edifying to those who would listen. Let's start, Jay, with our scripture, which is Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 5. It reads as follows. Let me make sure I have my notes. I have the correct thing by. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, excellent. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but every one that is hasty only to want. So those persons who are diligent, you're about your business, like you, like ground, like so many of us in the world, we diligent about our business, and we could lead a life of plenteousness. But those who are hasty, those who are not taking time to process things and do things properly, the scripture says that it could lead you to a place of want. You'll be lacking, right? Yeah. So we want to continue our topic, which is entitled Balancing a Budget. So this is our part 2 in our topic, and we want to start off with a question. Mervyn,
Yes.
I want to ask you if you can explain what is take-home income and net income. Last week we talked about, not last week, sorry, the last time we discussed this, we talked about net and gross and so on. So what's the difference between a take-home income and the net income?
All right. Well, I'll start off by saying that's a very good question, because it's a very thin line when individuals are faced with, well, what is, what isn't where my income is concerned. So when we start off with the net income, so I'll start with that one first. As previously mentioned last session that we had, your net income is simply your gross income less your total deductions, and that difference that you'll see on your pay slip or what your employer will give to you is actually the net income. When you start talking about your take-home income, which many persons don't ever really try to establish, but this is when you take further deductions that will not be shown on your payslip. So for example, when you look at things such as groceries, miscellaneous expenses, all this will not be shown on a payslip, but this is also being taken from your income. So when you take away all the additional expenditure that you incur on a monthly basis, that figure that you end with, that balance that you end with, that in fact is your take-home income. That's what I have to play with after all deductions, which is a figure you should establish, understand what it is, and note to self what are the differences you may need to do to change if you want to achieve your financial objective.
Okay, excellent.
Beautiful,
Jay, you had anything you wanted to touch on?
Well, I was waiting. I was waiting for you, and I've tried something over the week, and I remember the last time that you were here, we were talking about, how to save in this way, whereas, you can be able to see something, and you talk about part-time jobs and stuff, and so all my part-time jobs are saved, and I was doing very, very well. For a whole week, I have money. I have so much money, my parents coming to ask me for loan and thing. I can let me borrow some money to do this now, give it back and thing. Watch now. I like a real businesswoman, when I see a saving, so I tell them, I say, okay, if you borrow that, you have to pay a little interest on it. She saying, girl, move from your interest, what? But you know, she actually paid me a little interest. I give me a little something on top of that. And I was doing so well. And then I had a concert to go to and I spent all.
Okay.
So I don't have the money. I don't know how to find it. You need to. I get in there, guys.
So Jay, that kind of like touches on something that I wanted to ask Mervyn. A follow-up question, which is going to probably connect with what JL had mentioned. Should there be a priority in budgeting?
Yes.
Because she went to that concert.
Yes.
I don't know if that was priority. Anyway, go ahead.
It felt like a priority.
It felt like a okay. I can't vex with you. Go ahead.
just have one question to ask. Anyone else from within this room was invited to the said concert? No. Oh, I know the
Because
last
you know I
time
like to spend.
and you like to share. However, to answer your question, yes, there should be a priority.
Right.
So when you start your savings, let me rephrase that. When you start doing your budget, what you should actually pay attention to first is savings. And when we speak about savings actually takes a three-pronged approach that you could look at. So you are saving towards, one, what I am expected in terms of retirement. I'm saving towards the unexpected, and I'm saving towards managing myself for the unforeseen future. What I have in terms of my values to play with. Taking that three-pronged approach, once you establish by putting funds away, unexpected, my health, life, what I want to see when I reach a particular age, when I retire, and the monies that I have to just help me keep afloat in case things happen contrary. If you pay attention to that as the objectives, what you will find happening, despite the concert, despite whatever event that comes up, that you see that eagerness, that willingness, I need to be a part of it. What will actually happen? You would have already put aside what needs be for your objective of saving. So everything else that falls into play, you know to yourself, here's what, I can afford to do it. And the magic word there is, I can afford, because I have settled what I need to pay attention to so that I could live my life comfortably going into the future.
Yeah, beautiful. So then what I was supposed to do was see if it made sense in terms of financially. Can I afford to really go to this concert and still have something that, you know, I could hold on to? But to be honest, I felt like this was a priority. Is one of my really, really good friends, and you know, I couldn't miss it for nothing.
So with Jay saying that, sorry to interject, right, Jay?
And yeah, you could go ahead, but I want to say this. With finances and, you know, in saving, and I was doing such a good job with after he came in for that week. I was doing really, really good, and I was very persistent. It's like, no one here had to pay to go to the concert. You had to buy something to wear.
Yeah.
You understand?
And it's worse for you all as women. Or they're spending real money.
I buy something for my husband to wear. It's a hush.
Okay.
I buy for everybody.
You have a real blessed husband.
Yeah. But
you
look
buy
good.
for you and you buy for your husband.
Yeah. He had to look good too.
Yeah, well, you
Yes,
don't
and his
know.
people, they had to look too. So
like that.
I said I do that. Then when I think so, I realized I had to buy a little care routine. I need it for my face. It was a priority at that time.
All right, so we
Okay.
get into something.
I needed to.
No, I think we need to really bring up what is priority. You know,
for my edges was real bad, Devon. I had to fix my edges.
I don't even know what your edges is.
The edges. Oh gosh, Devon.
I'm a guy. I'm a man.
The edges is the little baby hair that you're having on your face, in front of your head, right? That
Gran.
Yes, the gran not supposed to be like out like that, you know what I mean? You gotta slick it back inside and get the product to do that, right? When I started to do all that, the money done.
Money
I
was
didn't
done.
know. I didn't know what to do again. I was in a panic attack.
As Jay say that, Mervyn, let me ask this question: is it okay for us at times, even though we seeking to have a budget as believers, as Christians, for us from time to time to just go and have a time, go and check out a concert, but then you don't put the money in those categories?
Right. So in life, let's always try to establish something. And what we try to establish is a balance. As the old saying goes, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And all play and no work still, in fact, makes Jack a dull boy. So what you need to establish is something called a balance. So there are times, here's what, I would want to have the entertainment. So let me just revert to what I was, the answer to your previous question. When I speak about savings in this category is monies that you're putting down into your regular account. You're just putting it down. In the previous session, we spoke about 3 times the gross income. Right. That's the savings that I'm connecting to tonight. And by putting monies there, once that objective is safe, savings, unexpected, retirement, once you have contributed to all these factors or allocations, now you're going forward and you're saying, here's what, the take home that I have, can I afford to? So you're maintaining a balance. And in addition, you're saving your money. So when you go out to enjoy or be entertained, you ought not to feel deprived at the end or feel as though, here's what, I made a terrible mistake. What should actually happen is, because I have saved my money, because I am making my monies work for me, what you will then find happening when you go out for entertainment, you could enjoy it to the fullest because you have continuity where your finances are concerned.
Excellent. Jay?
So I think that answers the question. We're getting you guys ready to open up the phone lines so that any questions concerning finances, of course, you can definitely ask. 622-1981, 628-1981. Also, you could send a voice note to our WhatsApp 275-1981, because every time I start to talk about finances, I just see persons getting upset.
Yeah, money does turn people, no?
It does turn you off.
And today is International Men's Day. Am I correct?
No, not today.
When it is?
It's supposed to be in the week.
In
next
the week?
Yeah.
Is next week?
Yeah, next week.
Next week. So when it comes to men, a lot of men focus on those who are industrious. We are cautious on how we spend money. People might view us as being stingy.
Cheap. Sorry. I thought
play music for. Some people might view us as being cheap, but it works out. And even for those ladies, if you find you're with a guy and he's not rushing to carry all the different events and so on, he might be having a plan later on. He might surprise you and have some events because he can't go every way.
Yeah.
If you have minimum wage, for example, minimum wage can stretch very far, especially in today's
It depends on how you
economy.
stretch it.
All right.
Devon, it depends on how you stretch. If you want to go out with a young lady, you will try to put that minimum wage, like let me say again, paid weekly or fortnightly. So you're putting the date when you know you're gonna get paid. Put aside a little something for traveling and food and whatever, and go on the date.
I know seeing with this conversation going and go. They're going into our next topic. I don't get that. Yes, man. We have our next question for Mervyn. Why persons decide to call and so forth. Mervyn, I heard about a salaried budget and a sole trader. What is a salaried budget? What is a sole trader? What's the differences, the key differences between these?
The key difference, I will say, when you look at the income, you're looking at the source. So let's go to the source of a salaried budget. From that word salaried, you'll realize, it's salary we're starting to pull from. And a salary is something that is paid towards an employee. So once you hear about a salaried income, this is an employee working and their employer pays them a salary, and perhaps the salary will be at the end of the month. When you start talking about the other side of it, where a sole trader now speaks, this source is a business person. This is a person whose income is going to be varied. The salary is also going to be fixed. Where you have income coming in, after your expenditure, you realize that it varies. So this month I might have an income of 10,000. Next month I could have an income of 20,000. The third month I could have an income of 5,000. Now you start realizing that this is a person who is doing an activity to generate the income. So it's like a business person that you speak of. So this is where you get the difference coming in with salaried, a person who works for themselves, being self-employed, or a businessman, generating income, and this income being fluctuating, as opposed to a salaried income where it's a fixed income that the individual receives from his or her employer.
And even as he says that, I realize, Jay, that there's a lot of persons who don't want to work for people these days. Right? A lot of people don't want to work.
Everybody wants to have their own business.
their own business, but that's not that easy. That's not an easy thing at all,
no, not at
because you have to source the money. You know how you work towards getting that money.
To start the business, and not just to start it, but to maintain all these favors. You know, you're thinking your friend had to get a friend favor, you know, whereas you don't charge me the amount for the item, you give me a friend benefit.
A friend benefit. That might give you a friend boss pocket.
Or if not the friend benefit, here's my friend. So
for
that
free.
means
For free, and
that means
you know that's our favorite word in the world, you know, free.
If you was my friend, how you can charge me?
Like I charge everybody. Like everybody. Yeah, Brendan, if you are my friend, you will pay me.
Yeah, but friends supposed to understand, oh gosh, I don't have all that money, you know, and what the little product you're selling, you know. But your friend now, and God will bless you, and you start to multiply, you know, give, and it will come back to you.
Yeah.
Your good measure.
I want moving talk. Give your views on this as you're listening.
Now, one of the things what I love with what you're doing right now, we're communicating, right? And we're getting our point across. And that's something that individuals have to learn to do more effectively.
Right.
Establish proper communication. So when you're dealing with business, you can't hold to the informal setting and say, well, here's what, we're friends and we could do. No. Once you are dealing with business, you need to be clear and define exactly what you are doing, why you are doing it, and what you expect. So that you're doing, in that case, you could be doing something called a verbal contract, because I need to establish at the end, money is going to be the exchange. And I'm not doing something here just for the sake of our friendship. This is a formal thing that we're doing. I will agree, it's a very thin line and it can have a serious emotional connection there. But once you're doing business, you need to communicate effectively.
Right.
So ensure it is clear. And if you realize that clarity can't be established, then you go to the next stage. Let's write it. So when we write and you see what's written, you have a guide. You could refer to, this is what we agreed to, so I'm expecting you to pay me for this particular job. Or I'm expecting you for paying me for this aspect of the task.
That's it. Yeah. And we really need to get there as a people, you know, because I think we don't look at it as, when it comes to friends, you know, we look at it as, you know, it's here or there. You know, we could swing.
Yeah, and even especially within the church, there was this old mindset that everything that needs to be done within the church needs to be done under a charity mentality. We have to kind of grow from that. Now, there's nothing wrong if you want to, you know, do something for the church or vice versa. You know, the church does something for you. But we must understand that money has a role to play in life to get the pews in the church or the seats in the church, the garbage bags, the toiletries and so on in the church. It's money. Even if the member would have given it to the church, the member would have had to pay money, right?
To get it.
To get it.
Right.
So money is how to manage it, and that we don't develop this mindset that every time you hear something about money and in relation to the church, we become allergic to that kind
Yeah.
of a dialogue.
Yeah.
We should have those conversations. So we invite persons again to call, send your messages and so on. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to call those numbers.
622-1981, 628-1981. Also, you can send us a voice note to 275-1981. I'm looking at the WhatsApp board here. And our beautiful friend Ayuna from Tobago, she says, good evening. Should your savings be different from your emergency fund?
Right. So that's an excellent question. So you have your emergency fund, and truth be told, the savings that we speak about, where we say here's what you're trying to establish, that 3 times your gross income, your emergency fund is actually in there. Because what you're doing, you're saying, here's what, I'm putting aside monies in case something happens. I'm not going into my major saving. I'm going to the immediate. So that's like my first point. Then I have my monies in the other areas. So, yes, that savings that we speak about, that's essentially your emergency. That's the first point you wish to access in order to satisfy that particular emergency, or in some instances, emergencies.
So you mentioned, sorry, Jay, you mentioned, and correct me if I go off, you mentioned the emergency and the larger.
Correct. So when you start saving, as I said, when you talk about savings, we look at it as a 3-sprung approach. So you have that savings, but then remember you have the unexpected, health issues, anything else. So you realize as the cost increases, I have funds in a particular area I can now pull from. And then, by all means, God give you life, health, and strength, and you live past that age of retirement. You want to live your life a particular way. So in your younger, hard-working times, there's where you establish what kind of lifestyle I want, so I start contributing towards that part of it.
Because when we talk about emergency fund, it reminded me growing up where I used to have like this $20 or this $40 somewhere in the back of my wallet where, you know, in case of something and, you know, you can't get transport or whatever, and you don't...
That was close to your Vex money?
That is the Vex money.
That is the Vex... $20?
Yeah.
$20 is the Vex money?
Well, back then, $20 was plenty, you know?
Oh, you're talking about like in 1980?
Yeah. Well, so what your Vex money now looking like? So
Not
it's
$20.
So what is it, like $100?
Yeah, you know, we know that.
Well, we know, but that your Vex money? Yeah,
But then
plenty, boy.
I'm a guy. Why would I have Vex money?
In case of something, you know,
I just have
it goes
money.
wrong, whereas you want to travel
And
and
Brenda, we just have money.
Vex money. I just have Vex money.
I don't know about any guy who, I'm not vexed if there are guys who have Vex money. I don't know of any guys that have Vex money. I don't know, right?
What's that?
No, but I didn't have a little $100.
Like your
Back
Vex.
up.
That is just in case I run out of these.
I
Right.
think for me, like, men always have money, boy. Like, I just never have. I always had to go and look for Vex money, and then when I don't have my last result, I go to my husband. Oh gosh, I don't have no money. You know what I mean? You know. So is that a men thing or is it?
Well, I'll speak for me and like with the guys that I've grown up with. We always know to have money. You know, just as backup, just in case, because you could find yourself in a position. Not Vex money for us.
Yeah.
I think Vex money comes under that kind of relationship thing. If you fall out with your girlfriend and she would have the Vex money, I'm going in your car.
Yeah,
I'm going
so
home.
like to travel,
And,
yeah.
she pick
Like
up and she going.
Like to stand up on the road to wait for a car.
Yeah,
Like, going in your car.
yeah. But for men, I don't have no Vex. I just have my money. You know.
But Christian people don't do that.
What?
The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of the Family Focus Broadcasting Network. The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of the Family Focus Broadcasting Network.
Well, this is new news to me.
Yeah. But anyway,
I didn't know. You're right. Okay.
anyway, we are discussing balancing a budget. This is our second part, and we have another question for our guest, Mervyn, Mr. Mervyn Baptiste. Mervyn, does one's environment have any impact on having and maintaining a budget?
Right, so let's establish when we speak about the environment, what we speak about. So environment is essentially what surrounds us. So whatever it is that surrounds you must create some change in the way you operate, in the way that you do things. Taking it from a financial perspective, yes, it is going to have some impact on your financials. Let's use an example. There's a lot of talk going around now about electricity rates to be increased. And they gave a slight, how should I put it? They gave us a slight diagram as to how this is going to impact on the average household. Based off of that, if one chooses not to pay attention to that and continue spending and doing all their financial activities the same old, what you're going to realize happening, here's what, you run into a problem. So if before I had $100 and I'm spending it as I see it to my needs, to my interests, and not take into consideration, here's what, my electricity bill is going to not only increase, but it's going to be a little more frequent. You'll realize that that take-home income will diminish so quickly, and you'll realize that here's what, I am in a financial dilemma. Gone will be the talk of I'm living month to month. You might actually find that here's what, I'm living like a few days to, I'm not too sure to when. So yes, things that happen in your environment, you need to pay attention to it, because the prices and things change. So if the price increase, you have to look at if that price is increasing and I have to pay for it, what's going to happen? I've heard a lot of people make series of comments. Here's what, I'm going to the supermarkets and I'm spending more. I have friends who said to me, here's what, before I would have gone to PriceMart and the supermarket, now I have to change my routine, I have to change up my process, because things are happening in your environment. And if you are not paying attention to that, here's what, you will have a serious financial dilemma. And all the fun and excitement and all the going out and all these great things that you really want to do, what you're going to realize happening, it's going to curb. It might cut off drastically. And as we mentioned earlier, we should always try to establish a balance.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you're not achieving the balance, you're going to go down a road called frustration. And with frustration, let's be real, you don't get much positive coming out of that.
Yeah. But, in terms of persons having that side hustle or that side job, it's not as easy to get a job in this day and age,
Yeah, and
sometimes you're trying to do all kind of thing like TT ride share, this taxi thing, this food thing where, food TT where you're picking up food for people on your job. Little side thing, we call it taxi.
No, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, where you go and you pick up little food for them, and it's like a company where we pick up food for them, so they don't have to go to the restaurant, or they don't have to go to the food outlet to pick up the food, and you drop it for them, and you get money for every drop that you do.
That is creative. I believe that's creative. What I tend to think about with having another job or whatnot, obviously it's not impossible to have, but your physical and your mental, can you maintain those things with the job? How much do you have to give into that job to maintain the job? Because you are a human being at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think there's a major component, but I see quite a number of people, especially couples, both persons are working these days as in comparison to long time. Long time it was more so one person, the husband working.
The male,
yeah. But now you see a great need for both parties to be working.
I wish I could just let my husband work and I stay home.
You serious?
Yeah.
I don't see you staying home, Joe. I just see that happening at all. I feel you will get frustrated
Don't.
being in the house.
I would not get frustrated. There's so much things I can do. Do my devotions in the morning. I make some breakfast and figure out what I'm making for lunch and I'm kind of thing. And see body house. I don't have no problem there.
For how
I just
long?
want to stay home.
I not seeing you. I not seeing you as a stay home
why we
person.
can't go back to the days where male work?
You know how much men would love that?
True.
A lot of men would love that. Not everyone.
So wait a minute, for the male to stay home and
Yeah,
for the
and
woman to work?
No, the woman.
That's that thing.
No. The woman stays home while the man works. The food.
Because
yes,
now,
Brendan, the food.
Now
And
you're getting away from all the fast food. Now, because what it is I'm giving you all my money for, if it is you can't even make a good meal for me.
I'm glad you say it and not me.
But
I'm
I'm
glad
saying-
Trinidad and Tobago and the world. Brother Devon didn't say it.
But
It
in
was
this-
a woman that said it.
In this day
Applaud
and
her.
age,
Applaud her.
listen to me. In this day and age, right? When 2 hours working and you still expecting me
They're not.
to do lunch and dinner. I mean, it's not easy.
How about is a teamwork? But we might end up derailing ourselves from our
from a
topic.
different, but the point I was trying to make, Devon. The point I
You were
was trying
supposed
to
to
make.
Devon.
Devon.
Right.
The point I was trying to make, Devon, is that in you really want to make more.
Right.
You understand? You
Yes.
really want to save because you know you can't do it on this one income that you know, because when you have bills and stuff, that
Right.
all that go into the bills and whatever the case is, right?
Right.
So that's why you need to get other source of incomes.
Right.
Whereas you can be able to save and have an emergency and a saving account and
Yes,
all
yes.
these different accounts for different things,
Yeah.
right? But all they give you the job now. Because what I'm saying is, everything is, you need to have experience. Do you have experience in this? Do you have experience? How about we do something whereas you can teach us what it is you need us to do? We might not be experienced.
And then that's a major point when it comes to a job, right? And then there's the other dynamic about the salary.
Right.
One thing to get the job, the next thing is that
The salary is not really cutting it.
I would tell you before I got my job, I made sure and say if I get a job, the job must be able to give me X because of my dynamics, you know, including rental living, etc., etc. Right? So I can't be working at a place where I'm not being able to make a certain amount. I'm not no big boy or anything like that, but I have to be able to meet my expenses.
Exactly, because then it would make no sense.
It would make
You'll
sense.
be doing all these hours, stressing out yourself, and you're not getting. I understand that point, but what about? Can the government do something? Because I know, like in the states and stuff, you have food card and all them things there, right?
Well, I think that going by Mervyn or moving.
Yeah, because I had to go to
the government doing something.
No, like can our government Mervyn do something concerning? Because sometimes I don't have the money to be buying these days in the groceries. Prices high. Can I get a food card that will be able to facilitate my groceries and this kind of stuff, Mervyn?
Well, I want to say yes. Government, they are doing things. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not here to defend. I'm trying to state the facts. What government is doing, they are currently training young individuals and giving them the tools. So let's go back to the concept of the man and the fish. Many persons may have had this idea of give me a fish in order for me to eat. And we live like that. But we realize here's what. That cannot be sustained for multiple reasons.
Yes.
So the idea now of teaching a man to fish is being introduced. So you realize there are programs being offered. They have courses at the university. They have NESC. And just recently they had a graduation ceremony from the Conservation Corps. They are training individuals with the tools and life skills so that in the long term, just what you're saying, hey, I'm working and I'm hustling and it's hard, and when I go to places and they tell me this is what the job requires and I don't have the experience, they are now saying we want to change that. And the process by which we're going to make that happen is simple. Let's teach individuals how to fish.
Is it like only OJT or something or
But there's OJT,
But that's
There's-
like a long process as well.
right.
Too,
And let's establish something. Many of us want things change, but in change we also have to factor time. It would be wonderful if we could sit here and say, here's what, I need to see all this happen, and it happens by a snap of a finger or a blink of an eye. But the reality is, no, it just doesn't
like that.
happen.
Yeah.
So the patience that we need, what we have to develop, the faith that we speak so strongly about, so passionately about, we really have to put these things now to the test.
Yes.
And say, here's what, let's work, live little and long so that we could achieve what we want to actually achieve. Trust me, I can say this. It sounds very nice. But when you come to the practicality of things, you realize it's a little more than that. Yes, it is, but you know what you're working towards. You want to see yourself in a better position. So acquire the tools.
Yeah.
Get it and come to terms. It's going to take time to get where I want to be.
Yeah.
I have a question for Mervyn. Jay, you have something?
Yeah, I have a question here.
Okay, go ahead.
So from the principal, Patos.
Pato,
Patrick
shout out
Esther,
to Pat.
He says, I don't hear much talk and advice about investing, right? Saving, although is necessary, has become not productive as the bank gives us less than inflation, so you end up losing over time. He's asking for Mervyn to give us some ideas on investing and the hows and the whys, and he says we would definitely need another program or more of this.
Of this topic,
I'm
we're an expert.
Let me, FBN, let me just take Mervyn now. Please,
But
we
here the
need it.
thing, Here the thing, as Pat said there, I'm in full agreement. It's a frustrating thing. You're putting in your money in the bank, and then the charges are more, and I stand to be corrected, but to me, it appears that the charges are more than whatever profits you're making from the bank. So, but it's a bit of a double-edged, if not a triple-edged sword, because if you're not saving in the bank, and then you want that loan, unless you plan to save for quite some time or get some, large sum of money in some way, how are you going to be able to build your house, buy your car, etc., etc.? How are you going to be able to? So it's a really tough position, right? So Mervyn, investments. I agree with Pat. It's like just save. That's good, but I could put all the money in the bank or all the money under the pillow. But that investment, I think, is the important thing. Also.
Exactly. Now, I will say this much. I think for that topic on investment, you might actually need to have another program because investment is a very, very huge topic. But simply to put it across, when you start talking about investments, there are certain products that the banks offer to actually gear you towards investment, but it's gearing you towards investment with a plan. So what I will start with is, you hear the banks offer things called mutual funds. These mutual funds that they offer, it doesn't operate as that of the regular current accounts. That's the accounts what you're getting your links card and stuff for. When you start investing money into your mutual funds, well, you could afford to invest your money into your mutual funds. The greater that you have there, the better you start positioning yourself in terms of loans and acquiring loans, or as I say to some people, the necessary evil. Because if you try to save in your lifetime to purchase the house, buy the car, or do any major expense, you're going to realize you will never meet it, simply because the time and the value of money. So when you look at your mutual funds is one area that you could start looking at investment. Of course, as I said, I'm just going to briefly scratch the surface where that is concerned. If you're a high-risk investor, then you want to start talking about things like stocks and shares. Because now you're saying, here's what, I have money and I want to make more money. When you go into that realm, you're saying, if I'm a big-time risk taker, I could afford to put out thousands, tens, and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you invest into the stocks and share market, you have to keep one thing in mind: it's very volatile. So if you don't have a good stockbroker to assist you in terms of the management of your funds, you could lose more than you could actually gain. So you need to have someone to work alongside you where that is concerned. Another thing that people don't know, you could invest or shop on things now to enjoy the benefits of it later. So things like jewelry, things like art, dependent on what your disposable income is like. Now you could start investing into these.
So that way you see people just be wearing and that gold and thing.
Well, I don't know if that's why. I don't know if that's why they're wearing it. In fact, I don't know how real some of it might be. But when you start investing into gold and silver, well, not so much silver, but gold, you realize in the long term, it increases in value. Even things like art. Another thing people could start looking at where investment is concerned. You're purchasing agricultural lands. People don't know how many opportunities and how quickly you could get your returns on an investment like that. I know of 2 persons who we worked together in terms of investing into agricultural lands. And in a matter of 5 years, not only were they able to pay off for the land, but they were able to purchase vehicles, have money, because they were selling the produce to vendors and they were making money. So as I said, when you start talking about investment, the list is long. The big question is, where do I want to go? What do I have in terms of finances that I could play with, so I would know how much I can actually afford to invest into that particular component or components that are going to benefit me? Because, as I said before, the list is long. So you just have to understand, here's what. For me, this is the design that can work, so let's explore it. So, yeah, I will agree. We need to talk a lot more on investment, and I'm just going to scratch the surface where those 3 points are concerned.
Well, by God's grace, next year, please God, we want to continue this conversation and go into the investment.
Because what is happening here on the WhatsApp board, a lot of persons, they are saying that this talk about finances is so refreshing. So they're more listening and
I realize that. Than calling,
they
yes.
Want to talk and
they want to listen.
They want to listen to hear
yes.
how do we do this, advice on that,
yes.
and that kind of thing, which is really, really good.
Yes.
Somebody was saying, can you explain what money market is, or the money market?
Right. So the money market is one of the products that you will find, I think it's at the Unit Trust Corporation. So you have products that come into the first unit scheme and the second unit scheme. So at the UTC, and I'm going to put out a disclaimer, don't hold me to the exact thing, but basically what happens is this. One is for long-term savings and one is for short-term savings, which mimics that of what the banks will do with your savings and your current account, as the banks call it. So when you start putting monies into the money market, I think it's one of the IMF the money market fund, when you start depositing monies into these funds, what is it actually gearing you towards is that long-term investment. But persons have to understand how it actually operates. One, you don't just put your monies there and leave it to grow. You have to continually add to the monies there. Now the monies grow and the interest might be compounded, and you realize, okay, at the end of the year, I receive X amount on my balance. But the idea driven, it's not that, here's what, once I keep putting my monies into the money market fund, wow, I'm going to realize in 5 years' time I have sufficient money to purchase the home.
And I want to come in right there.
And before you say that, I think as we're saying, UTC gives compound interest.
Correct.
It's really lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, because we need to get these terms broken down. One, as well as the reality of how much someone could look at possibly when they invest the money. Because a lot of persons are going to put in money.
Correct.
And I will say, I was one of them, putting in money for years and then come and see, well,
Yes.
What did I not hear?
Well, I'm seeing here, they're saying UTC gives compound interest, but the banks give simple interest.
Right.
So what's the difference? You know.
So when you talk about the compound interest, so let's check the UTC. When we talk about the compound interest, it means that I give you money and I'm going to add onto the money that I've already given to you.
Right.
So when you put into the money, you put monies into that first and second unit scheme, that's what you're actually seeing happening. You're seeing your monies growing, but you have to continually deposit monies into the account. When you go to the simple interest concept, it's like, here's what, this is the interest for the year on this particular principle that we started with.
Oh, on the principle.
Right. So what you find happening is, with the compound, you will get more quicker as opposed to the simple interest. I get this amount over a longer period.
So then join a credit union, then it's better.
Well,
That-
to an extent. You could look at the credit unions. Now, you see, when we start talking about monies and these different types of accounts, we have to understand what is it we want to see coming out of it. So all of them look very nice, but what is the real objective? Anytime you start saving your monies and you see your monies growing, it gives you a greater opportunity where loan accessibilities are concerned. When you start investing monies, you look at, here's what I need to establish for my short-term goals. So you have to answer the questions to know exactly which one I should put my monies into, how much I should put my monies into, how much money I should put into it, so that over this particular period, I'm going to actually gain the objective.
So I'm seeing a lot of persons sending messages, but guys, we have Yadas up next, and we have a big topic up next. People were asking about shares and that kind of thing, and somebody was asking about Bitcoin. Well, guys,
next.
we can't, in no way we can talk about all
that
right
in
now.
a minute time.
Right, but we will definitely get moving back into answer all of your questions.
I'm
Right, but
I'm seeing we might have to have, and I guess we'll talk with management. We'll have to have some type of a series, you know, kind of financial education.
Yeah.
With Mr. Mervyn Baptiste, going into next year, please God, because I think all of those topics, they will require some time.
Sometime, yeah.
You know, going into the Bitcoin, going into the shares, and so on. It's a little confusing for me too. I have been in the credit union. I'm still in the credit union. I've been in unit trust. I was in unit trust, and so on. So I think it will be a really good thing for the church to do their part. And I believe the church does do in some places. Us doing our part in terms of we address the financial issues and our concerns, right? So with that said,
saying part three.
Part
So they're
three.
waiting for part three.
Part
alright.
3 for next year, please God. Mervyn, we want to thank you for coming through, and we still didn't get through all our questions, all our notes, but it was good, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You could give your shout outs if you have anyone you want to highlight.
Well, I want to say thank you very much to yourself and the team. It has been wonderful thus far, and I'm looking forward to it. In terms of the shout out to all my friends and family, thank you very much for all that you have done to help me to be where I'm at today. And with God's blessings and faith, we can only go further. Thank you.
Amen.
God bless. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. We hope this program was educational, informative, that you loved it. We realize, as Jay said, persons were just digesting, and that's good. Sometimes we could talk and sometimes we could digest. So, be blessed. See you guys next week. Please go on, and remember, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, but with all they're getting, get understanding.
Remember, guys, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Speak life over your family, over your friends, over your loved ones, even that stranger on the street. Guys, up next, we got you ready for Yadas. Of course, we have Dr. Jason Batson, and he's going to talk a little bit about men. You know, the sense